Hey guys, here today showing you how to replace a window regulator and motor on a 2001 Dodge Intrepid. This should work for any 98 through 2004 Dodge Intrepid. Obviously this is the front driver's side that I'm working on. You can tell by all the switches and whatnot. For this job you should need a Phillips head screwdriver, a small flathead screwdriver, which you won't really use other than to open up these little covers here that are blocking the screws. There's one right here and there's one down in here. You'll need a 10mm socket and wrench, a socket and a ratchet. I have a 3-inch extension just in case I may need it. So the first thing you will want to do is to remove all the screws that are holding on the door panel. There are quite a few of them, I think about 8 or 9. There's one right here behind the door handle. It's covered by a little plastic cover. Just stick the flathead screwdriver in here and just pry that cover open. Same for in here. There's one down in the pool area right here. Pop the cover open and take the screw out. So there's 2 screws right here. There are 3 screws on the very bottom of the door. One about here, here, and over here. There's 2 screws right here as well. And then depending on which model you have, some of them will have this infinity tweeter speaker right here on the top of the door. Some of them will just have like a plastic cover. If you just have the plastic cover, I believe that you can just take those and pry it away from the door and just pull it out of the way. This one does have a speaker here, so there are 2 more screws right here that you need to loosen up, take out, and then this will slide towards the front of the door off. And then if you pull it up a little bit, there's a connector back here that you can just disconnect the connector and remove that speaker. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Just like so. Now the speaker is off. It's just a little simple connector. So next you want to grab your flathead screwdriver. I've already removed all these screws that I'm telling you about. Next you want to grab the flathead screwdriver, and behind the speaker grill here, I came in right here and pried it away. Behind the speaker grill there are 3 more screws. One is right here in the very bottom. Now don't get confused, because there are screws that are holding on the speaker, and those are torque screws. There are 3 more screws that are holding on the door panel. One is right here at the very top. You'll know it's them because these screws are way down inside the door panel. So there's one right here, there's one right here, and then there's one down here in the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. Okay, so that is now all of them removed. So the door panel will pull away at the bottom like this, and you can kind of just lift it up. You may have to pull this door handle back so it can come off that clip. So pretty much pull the bottom away from the door and then lift up, and the whole deal will come off like so. And then if you look, let me get you a different angle. Now that you've pulled the door panel away, you'll notice inside here there is a connector for the handle. It's usually blue. So if you take the blue clip and pull it back away from the metal rod, that's what's holding it on, like so. Then it'll just come out. This thing just rotates around like this, and then you'll go on ahead and disconnect the other various connectors that are located in here. These ones that are right here, you're probably going to have to just pry these right here away with the flathead screwdriver. Get in here, pry them all away from the door, so that you can pull them out easily. This one, and there's a connector to the light that it goes to over here. And all the other connectors are really easy to get to. You can just disconnect them, and then you can just set the door panel down to the side. Okay, so after you got your door panel removed, you'll be looking at this here black vapor barrier. It's held on all the way around by some silicone, black silicone, or gasket maker, or whatever you want to call it. When we go to pull this off, try your best not to rip this thing, because it is very easy to rip this into a lot of pieces. Just try your best not to. I usually start at this corner over here, and you can see it's held on by just sticky black glue. Now usually you want to remove these before you go ahead and pull it off, because they'll stop you from getting it off. However, I find that it's very difficult to remove these without breaking them, and you need these because that's what's holding the door panel on one side. So people are probably going to hate me for doing it this way, but what I do is take a razor blade and just cut right around this thing as close to as I can, so that way when I remove this black vapor barrier, I don't have to worry about pulling these off, and when I go to put it back on, really it's going to be fine and nothing's going to be harmed by doing that. So I'm going to make a little slice around this thing, and then I'll go ahead and pull this off. And now you go ahead and remove this. You can see I can just slide it right around there, it's fine. You can unscrew this door handle if you want. You probably don't need to, but I'm going to. Remember how far you took that off, otherwise when you stick it in back into the car, the door handle might not pop up enough in case you do need to get it out. So now pretty much you're just going ahead and peel this back. You need to peel all of the top back. You can use a razor blade to help you, cut along the top just to get it off. But you do need to peel all the top back completely so that it exposes most of the door. You can pretty much leave the bottom part attached to the door still, but everything else needs to get pulled down. And you go ahead and feed the door handle through so it's not. So now you got this exposed. The window regulator is here. This is the window motor. There's one clip right here you can go ahead and take off now and remove it from the window motor. Okay, so what you want to do next now is to loosen up these 10mm bolts. There's one right here and there's one at the very bottom of this, so you're going to need to peel most of this down so that you can expose this other 10mm here. So take both of these off, then you should be able to slide this piece up and then maneuver it out. You can just set this down to the side. Okay, so normally when these things break, ideally you want to have the glass all the way up to the top or down enough to where there's two bolts that are attaching the glass to the top of the regulator. But as you can see, this particular window is down about, I don't know, 2.5 inches or so, and so now the access holes I need to get to are blocked and I can't get to them. Normally you can access right through here through this hole, and one of these holes over here you can stick a 10mm ratchet in there and loosen up the track from the top of the glass. But as I said, this one is now stuck in this position to where I can't do anything with it. Now if your motor still worked, you could actually try to plug this back in, reconnect the door, the door switches, and try to see if you can get this to move up or down. I'm going to try to manually just pull on this with my hand to see if I can get it to come up just a little bit so I can have the access I need, or maybe I can push it. If you push it down, you'll have plenty of room because all of this is open. So I'm going to try to do that and see if I can get the bolts off. Hi. So it turns out I can't actually move this at all, the glass, so I'm just gonna leave it where it's at. I think I'm able to get inside, so pretty much I need to get inside the door where you can see where the bottom of this glass is at. It is attached to a track. You'll see what it is, what I'm talking about once you look in there. Like I said, if your window's all the way up, you can see the bolts right through this hole, and you can see another bolt that's in one of these holes here. It's a 10mm nut. So you would need to loosen those. You don't need to take them off, but just loosen them enough to where the track is loose. And then once that track is loose, once you break the two nuts loose, the whole metal track will slide back towards the back of the door, and that will release the window regulator from the glass. Do make sure you tape your glass up so it doesn't fall down immediately. So tape the glass first and then go on ahead and pull those two screws off. I'm going to try and get in there with a little wrench and a little ratchet. Yeah, I'm able to get in here with this one to get to this one. Remember, you just got to loosen them, you don't have to take them off. So now the track is loose on this side, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the other one. Okay, so now I got that one loose. So what you want to do simply do is slide the track back this way, and then you'll pull the regulator, the track, away from the glass, and then it should be free. Like this one now is free off of the glass. I don't have to worry about it. And my glass is taped up so it's not going to fall down. So now pretty much all you need to do is loosen up the remaining window regulator bolts. I believe there are a total of 5, not including the two nuts we just taken off. There's one right here and here, one right here on the bottom, and there's one right here hiding beneath the motor. Then this guy right here you need to take off as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all those. Now this should free up the window regulator. You can just kind of, if you can, you need to collapse. It's kind of a combination of collapsing this back, this scissor back, and pulling this up out of its position. So you kind of just have to mess with it a little bit, and eventually it'll come out. So if you can get this part off, then you can collapse this piece here and bring it all the way to the back, and then you can slide it all the way out. And now you got it out, and this is what it looked. This is the track up here that I was talking about that has the two nuts in it. When you do loosen them, you're able to slide this back and forward to get it to disengage from the glass. So now I'm going to grab my new window regulator, and I'll compare them side to side to see if maybe you have to transfer anything over. But the new one should come complete to where you can just bolt it right in. Okay, so I got the new regulator here. It did come with new bolts to bolt it to the door. As you can see, they are not all the way tightened in because they're designed to just sit down onto these, and then you can tighten them up. So you can remove them if you want completely, but you shouldn't have to. And then the new motor is here. You just connect the connector to it. So pretty much you just stick it in the same way you took it out, and then I'll go ahead and adjust this scissor to match the glass that's in there so that you can slide it onto the track, or excuse me, slide this back onto the glass. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, you probably found that a little challenging trying to get that in there. I have mine not even all the way in now yet, so I'm going to go ahead and try and loosen these up some and try and see if it'll help me get this into place a little better. Okay, once you get the window regulator in place, go ahead and tighten up the 4 bolts and reinstall this connector. Don't forget to tighten this bolt over here as well. Actually, you'll not want to tighten this one up until you've moved this, adjusted this accordingly in order to attach the glass. So attach the glass first, make sure that's good, and then go ahead and tighten this one up and tighten the other two up that are holding the track on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that first before I tighten up anything else. Okay, now I've got the glass back reattached. I tightened up the two bolts that are holding this onto the track. So now you can go on ahead and tighten up this bottom bolt that's down here. That way it keeps the track in place. Okay, so now you got everything back reinstalled. Go on ahead and pick up this vapor barrier. Make sure you feed the wiring harness and the door handle rod through the correct holes. The harness will go through the biggest hole. That's what I thought he said too. You push that little red button right there? The little red one's like right here. It's a small button, yeah.
With the little camera picture on it?
Mm-hmm. The red dot should go off on the screen. Hey guys, as you can probably tell in the end of that video, my friends showed up and ended up pretty much messing up my video, or at least the end of it. So I feel that I probably gave you enough information to at least get the door panel and the window regulator out. You should be able to pretty much just reverse the procedure and put everything back together. The only thing that probably give you any trouble is the little clip for the door handle. You would need to stick the rod down into the door handle and snap the little blue plastic clip onto the rod that will hold the rod into the door handle. Other than that, everything else, if you go back into the beginning of the video, you should be able to see that everything is pretty easy to put back together. So I apologize, I did not get to finish this video correctly as I usually would like to, but just have to bear with me, and I apologize for that. If you do have any questions or comments if you have any questions or comments about the video, just ask them in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to the channel, don't get used to this. I always finish my videos, or at least try to. This is the only one I haven't been able to finish completely. So yeah, just ask me any questions you have, and you can hit the like button and the subscribe button on your way out, guys. I appreciate it. All right, see ya.